To begin, I'd like to get a quick sense of what the current operating environment has looked like for all of you.
Work from home was not sort of on our to-do list. But what we've seen with the pandemic, we've gone from having a very rudimentary video conferencing capabilities to we rolled out Teams to the whole company. And we did that over a period of the first 30 days. Now, I could tell you that was smooth, but that would be untrue. It was a lot of bumps and bruises and people, turning cameras off when they should be turning them on, et cetera. But I think that that's a technology that has, I don't know if it's reached maturity, but it's here to stay.
In fact, I remember when we were planning for the possibility of everybody working remote, our biggest concern was technology. Our biggest concern was, will the technology bandwidth support what we wanted to do? And we originally were going to go out in phases, right? And from a Monday to a Friday, planning those phases, we got to Friday and said, come Monday, everybody's remote. Some people working, the office was never closed. It was always open. Essential workers were there as necessary. There were some functions that were very hard to do remotely. But I would say the group has really adapted to this environment quite well. We serve our client. We haven't heard any issues from our clients, from our producers, from all the constituencies that we serve. We've had board meetings this way. We've had everyday discussions this way. Maybe we've actually increased the communication.
Yeah, I would say the same for us. Like we were sitting there on a Friday contemplating what we were going to do, and by Monday we were fully operational on a work from home platform, and we've really started to embrace that, right? A lot of people that we've got, how long does it take to burn in a new habit? It's probably not 4 months, right? So a lot of people are settling in to the work from home, and so we've gone heavy flex time so that it really will be a new world when we go back to the offices. But yeah, I would say the technology for us, somewhat surprising to me. I was a little skeptical. Absolutely worked great.
If you have somebody who spent their career with a group of people within arm's reach, working in the accounting department, and now all of those people who were in arm's reach are now working from home. That is the biggest change for us, and we have to work with those people to help them. From my perspective, I think Tony said something about that. I see my direct reports now more than I did before, because before, if I have a direct report in Overland Park, Kansas, I would get out there to see him once every 6 weeks or so. I would talk to him on the phone. I'd have an occasional video conference. Now I video conference with him once a day.
There's nothing like an emergency to rally the troops. And I would say collectively, we have all had an emergency, right? We all had to say, okay, let's just do this. Let's get it done. It might not be perfection, but let's just do it. Let's not be afraid of what comes next. And literally people rallied around that, I think. And the second thing I would tell you is travel. I was 40% plus on the road, and people travel more than I do, some less than me. But to the point about people being available, they're more available. It's not unusual to go on a Skype or go on a Teams and say, let me talk to so-and-so, and they'll pick up because they're there.
I'd love to know what everybody thinks about that, because I could see corporate travel changing quite a bit, going forward after this, especially when everybody sees the cost savings that are achieved by not having a lot of their people travel so much. I wonder what everybody thinks about that, about whether or not whether we'll see more of a move to more virtual interactions, as opposed to like you said, Tony, being constantly having to be on the road and out seeing clients and partners all the time. Marc, what do you think?
We've really had an interesting experience on that, right? We're doing the conference circuits, and you'd have the meetings on the half hour and run around, and it was kind of a thing. We've started to replicate those on the video conference, and they're so much more efficient, right? Like, so the airing of the grievances, and then the opportunities, and the to-do list, you can bang them out half hour, everybody's there, everybody's focused. And I think as Tony said, everybody's at home. You're kind of happy to hear from people.
No plans in terms of technological use changed in my mind, but they just got advanced. We were always thinking about, well, what do you do in this environment, that environment? I mean, to send an engineer to inspect a boiler just couldn't happen. But yet it's a key part of what we offer as a service. So we had to find an app for, and by the way, IoT, the fact that no one is present in the location to say, hey, there's a problem with that machinery or this potential leak or that potential issue. So all of a sudden, these remote applications are becoming more and more important. And we've moved them along during this 3-month period a whole lot faster than we ever expected to. Just to the virtual, one more time, I don't want to beat it up, but I also think it added a human element that maybe was lacking. I mean, how many of us would have been comfortable doing something virtual with a dog walking or barking in the background, and all of those things that we all live every day is part of life. But yet in this new world, we said, just a little distraction, don't worry about it.
But one thing I would observe that in terms of my interaction with people in across Hudson, I'm not sure if it's the a pandemic or what it is, but it's apparently there's a huge shortage of collared shirts in America today.
No, it's just that the non-collared shirts have finally come out.
Yeah. And the people who have collared shirts on, when you talk to them, say, and you say, that's the third day you're wearing that shirt, and they say, well, I have it on a hanger to my left, and whenever I get on the video conference with you, Chris, I put it on.
Of the solutions that have been leveraged increasingly now in everybody's processes, what are some of the ones that we see now staying as part of the regular workflow going forward? Mark, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, for us, some of that's more, social and cultural, right? Like, I think the video has proven itself, has come into its own. And so I think that is going to be a permanent feature. Frankly, I think there's probably a generation, I don't want to generalize too much, but there's a generation that's probably more comfortable doing stuff on video than they would have been getting on the planes and traveling around, which was something we were working on, before, but, frankly, embracing the video concept is probably not a bad idea for that generational shift. But I think Tony brought it up earlier, right? The communication, the kind of, it's a lot, this setup's a lot more democratic than if I had 10 people in the home office and we were talking to one of the field guys. Like, we now have, instead of 50 offices around the country, we have 2,500 in people's living rooms. And so people, I think, feel free to, to kind of interact a little more as humans. We're all in this together.
We're faced with a situation where you can meet everybody anytime you want to without investing all the time and effort that goes into that, which is great, and it's more democratic. But you are losing something in terms of the face-to-face interaction. And so what we're trying to do is, we've told people initially, you have to have meetings with your team. I mean, they would do it perhaps anyway, but we said you have to have at least a meeting a week with everybody on a Teams call. We've moved beyond that to say you have to have a social interaction. You have to have an hour where you don't talk about work. You bring your lunch, and you bring a lunch, and you talk about stuff.
Again, I agree with the comments made. I think if I had to project, I would say we will head to a new normal. Not old normal, a new normal. But will new normal look exactly like a complete remote environment? I'm not so sure, for a lot of the reasons mentioned. Technology is there. It's available to make our worlds different than they were. So I don't think this is the inability of technology to help. It's the inability for our own minds and culture and comfort level to see it through.
And what we're seeing as we engage with our clients is saying, well, okay, I've got these traditionally transactional based systems that process a quote, a policy, a claim, all that good stuff. But how do I integrate that with collaboration tools, so that when I am working with a loss adjuster in the field, or when I am working with a producer, or when I'm running a board meeting, I can bring to my fingertips, to use a cliche, the data that I need, the information that I need to support that process. And I think, what we were seeing over the last 18 months, particularly in the soft market, was there was more discussion around collaboration, for example, where reinsurers were much more focused on negotiating deals because all deals were unique. There was intense competition, etc. Now what people are saying to us is, hey, this Teams product's great. We, as you gentlemen have referred to, we rolled it out overnight and we're rocking and rolling. How do I bring that into my core solutions so that when I'm running my business, it complements them rather than sits out there as a standalone tool? And I think that's a journey that I think we were already on. It's just being accelerated, and more use cases are being added because we just had to overnight.
So Marty, to me, all the things that we as an industry were focusing on before this crisis are still relevant. Data, agile, effective technology, all those things, IoT, blockchain, artificial intelligence, all the things that we've been working through. It's just that it's now going to go at an even faster, in my view, just a faster pace of, I'll say, a more sense of urgency to it.